One of a Kind with Rob Van Dam is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Rob Van Dam! Rob Van Dam! Rob Van Dam!
I'm Rob Van Dam. The whole show.
What's up, guys? It's Dominic D'Angelo of RVD TV. Hey, I'm on the road this week. I'm at SummerSlam, and I'm staying at Crowbar's. This is not the wrestler Crowbar, WCW Devon Storm. This is not Crowbar's apartment. This is a Dunkin' Donuts. I don't have any good internet right now, so I'm recording this intro from here. Wanted to tell you guys, this week, Rob and I are both at SummerSlam, so I put together a little something where it's Rob talking about the giants of the business, the literal giants of the business. So he's got some good stories about Vader, Kevin Nash, same story there, Sid Vicious, Test, and Mike Awesome. It's some fun stuff, some good times to look back on, and enjoy it. These are some really fun clips. So enjoy the show, and always Rob Van Dam. Yeah. Darren, thank you. He pitched in $5 for this one. He said, I'm new to this show. This question has probably been asked. What 80s territory guy would RVD most have liked to wrestle? I'd have liked to see him up against Valentine. Well, you did wrestle Valentine, right?
Believe it or not, I've wrestled Greg Valentine a lot. And you know what else? He lives literally like a mile from my house.
No shit.
Yeah. And I always forget and I never see him. Like every 5 or 6 months, I'll be like, oh yeah, because someone will mention, doesn't Greg Valentine live in Vegas? And I'm like, fuck, that's right. And usually I'll call him and leave him a message. Dude, I'm going to stop by with a doobie or something sometime, man. Let me know when you're in town. Another 6 months will go by. I'll either see him on the road or someone will bring it up. And I'll be like, oh, that's right. I forget. But he's in a neighborhood very close to us. And we know his next door neighbor is a photographer of ours.
Really?
Small world. It's a small world after all. So in the 80s, I wrestled Bobby Fulton. I wrestled Manny Fernandez. Wrestled Denny Brown, who not as many people would know, but I'll leave that up to you. Buddy Lee Parker. What other 80s wrestler? Well, did I wrestle Tommy Rogers? He was a good friend of mine. Tommy.
Fantastic, right? He was fantastic.
Yeah, him and Tommy. Tommy and Bobby.
Yep.
Fulton.
Fulton, yep.
Yeah. Good dude, man. Sorry to lose him when he passed. He used to be my guy in Hawaii that I would always see when I'd be in Hawaii and loved hanging out with him. Someone that comes to mind is, but I guess he wasn't. I don't know if he was in the 80s. Yes, he was, right? I was going to say Sid Vicious.
Yeah, he came in the 80s, like I think,
So I did wrestle him once as Matt Burns. A lot of people know this. Me and I believe the dude was Scott Casey, or was it Casey Thompson? Casey Thompson, I think. I think Scott Casey was Eddie Mansfield's friend from back in the day. I think Casey Thompson was the guy that got squashed with me against Sid. That match was nothing. We were there for the payday, whatever. Not counting that, I was going to wrestle him in, I don't know if it was Paris, somewhere for AWR when we were over there. We had great tours over there in AWR. Sid was on a tour, and the first night in, he hurt himself. Clotheslined X-Pac, so stiff in the face that his whole bicep was blue. I don't know if it was torn or just bruised. It was completely purple and blue for the whole tour. So he was babying it and stuff. He was supposed to wrestle me at the end of it, towards the end of it. I was really looking forward to that match at that time.
Wow.
He wasn't. He was like, man, I don't think I can do it, man. I don't know. I'm like, no, bro, trust me. It's going to be the best match you've ever had. I felt like that. I'm wrestling Bam Bam Bigelow not that long before One Man Gang, all these giants and stuff. And I really liked Sid as the monster of intensity that he was. And I was thinking, this is, and at that point, I had that competitive spirit in me, that fight in me, that to where I just knew, bam, this was going to be a great match. And I was looking so forward to it, not even knowing what I was going to do. I just knew that about it. Our chemistry was going to be fantastic. And he kept saying, I don't know, man, I don't know if I'm up for, when it comes down to the showtime, he went to the boss, said he wasn't feeling up to working with me. Got the match switched back to X-Pac. And then all the match was, much to X-Pac's surprise, which you found out live in action. The bell rings. Sid went over, kicked him in the gut, power bombed him and held him down for a 3 count. That was the whole match. And Sid went home.
Whoa.
I'm not talking bad about Sid. I was just really going to take care of him. We were going to have a great match. But, hey, when you don't feel like you're 100%, that can really do a lot to you mentally, which then in turn you feel physically, and your spirit feels it. He didn't have the spirit in him to do that. But I always regretted that. So that just pops in my mind when you ask, who would I like to have a match with? I still think that match would have been pretty awesome. So I think that's my answer. If we can count him as a 80s wrestler.
Yeah, I totally think so.
And, he doesn't get credit for being that great of a wrestler. Like, no one's bragging about him. They say he can't, some less than nice things have been said about him. And I take pride in really, having people's best matches, taking their finishes the best, being, selling their shit better than everyone else does and making them look better than everyone else does. And that's the JOB right there.
Right. Do you think in a way like he did that like to almost kind of like protect you? So like he didn't squash you necessarily and he just wanted to kind of get the match over with and have something and get out of Dodge? Not that it was like the right thing to do.
No, because there's no way he was going to squash me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We were going to, I wouldn't have, like I really cared a lot back then and I would have stretched that match out to be, to where all the fans were like, holy fuck, that is the best match I've ever seen Sid have. That's what I had in mind.
Well, that's what I mean, though. Do you think he was like, he got it switched to X-Pac so he didn't squash you?
He got it switched because he was acting as if working with me is somehow a greater sense of a physical requirement than working with somebody else. Okay. And a lot of people think that, PJ, Just Incredible, used to always say at ECW, do you think I have what it takes to work a match with you, Rob? Like, do you think I'd have a good match with you? And, for real, you think we'd have a good match? And what Sid was saying leading up to that he didn't feel like he was going to be up to it because his arm was hurting him so much. Mm-hmm. And he thought that my belief is that he really thought he had to be in 110% physical shape, that our match had to be really stiff because I'm known for that, and that we were going to have to fucking work our asses off and fight everywhere with tables and chairs. And I think in his mind, he had himself worked up into thinking that a match with me was going to be a greater amount of spent energy, exhaustion, physical exertion. And so to change it, he just wanted an easy night and wanted to just get in and do his appearance and get out of there.
Yeah. Okay.
We also had a helicopter take him before that show. He had a helicopter take him from town C to D when the rest of us rode the bus, and we met him there because he was hurt, already hating the bus ride. See, he wanted to come back to WWE, and I totally believe that he thought if he did this tour, that it would get his name out there. WWE would want to use him again. I really think that's what it was about. And man, when you're on 10-hour bus rides, you're not always going to be able to make it to the gym. You're not always going to be able to eat the best food. And he wasn't looking for any of that shit. He was like, fuck that. I got to work out, if I can get me a helicopter there. I'll meet everyone else there after I, take care of me. And then he just, like I said, went home.
Went home.
Yeah. And I respect the monster that he is and think that would have been a cool match for me to have under my belt that I really don't.
And it's neat too, like we just mentioned you fighting Nash back in the day. That's neat to kind of go back and wow, those guys crossed paths that early in their careers and stuff like that. And so that would be a neat kind of thing to have on there for sure.
Hey guys, whoa, change of scenery. Summertime's here, and it is a change of scenery. We got a lot going on, lots happening. The weather is finally nice. It's finally hit, and you're ready to hit the road. Maybe do something, take a little vacay. I've done a couple already, back to my hometown, and it's frustrating because you got to pack everything. You got to think you have this, and you forget that, and all that. And hey, Mando makes a lot of things easier and makes you a little bit more confident in what you're packing too, because you can smell good wherever you go. I went back to my Pennsylvania town of Ridgeway, Pennsylvania, and I had the Mando, the bourbon leather, and man, it's such a fresh, refreshing smell, and you just enjoy it. And you enjoy it. You feel confident being around my brother had a high school reunion, and so I saw a lot of old friends and everything like that, and feeling good, feeling confident, and you knew that Mando was taking care of you. The stick is one of my favorite products. I like the bar of soap that they do. And also, I appreciate the wipes too, if you're in a pinch or anything like that. But I also really, really like the deodorant spray that can hit you anywhere if you're in a pinch. And I did that a couple of times too while I was on the road and going and cooking and doing the vacation stuff. And Mando, you cannot beat it. And for the summertime, there's no better way to feel confident than go with Mando. I think it's created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. Mando and deodorant stick deodorant product options are the solid deodorant stick and the spray deodorant, like I mentioned. And so, man, you cannot get better than that. And Mando is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes. If you can, I recommend getting the bar of soap, like I said, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code RVD at Shop Mando for 20% off site-wide and free shipping. SHOPMANDO.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Mando's got you covered. Perfect for your pits. Smell great doing it. Boom, Mando.
We know about Mike Awesome, but what did RVD think of Mike Awesome? You had some great stories already with Mike Awesome. And,
yeah, I loved Mike Awesome. He was next to Sabu, probably the closest guy in the business to me. We were road wives, which is what we call it when we travel together. 2000. Well, it was 2001. It was Mike and I. Sabu wasn't even in the company at that time. And Mike Austin, but Mike was a friend of Sabu's from FMW, so that's how I connected with him. If you're a friend of Sabu's, you're a friend of mine. And it was like that. Same thing with Louis Spicoli, anybody. But he was in Sabu's clique if he was on the road with Sabu, and so he and I became travel partners. And actually it was at 9/11, the OG experience, when we were stuck in Houston and all the airplanes were grounded, that we picked up Sean Stasiak because him and Sean were good friends. And then it became the 3 of us, and then Mike was out, and then it was me and Sean for quite a while until I think they let Sean go or whatever. And besides that, Booker T and I, and Booker T and Nick Patrick and I were travel partners. Me and Sabu always will be. And I don't think anybody else. I think besides that, I've just always been by myself. But you get to know somebody when you travel on the road with them. And Mike was a germaphobe. I found that hilarious because he's a big fucking gladiator, that'll fucking squeeze you through the guardrail, but with his power. But afterwards, he was just so funny at how particular his habits were of cleanliness when we would go to eat. And it made sense. But I mean, most of us would go and wash our hands, come back to the table. He would wait because he's like, why wash your hands and then handle the ketchup bottle? That's a good point. How dirty is that fucking ketchup bottle? And take the cap off of it, and you're going to pour that ketchup on your hamburger, and then you're going to be – everyone that touched that ketchup bottle all day is now holding your hamburger, you know? And so Mike would wait until the food came, and everybody that wanted to come by and shake their hand that we could see, anybody that wanted to come and meet us was all gone, and he'd wait till everything and be like, okay, I think I'm safe. And this is after he put the salt and pepper and ketchup and mustard, and which is really smart. A1 sauce, whatever, you get the point. But then before he actually touches his food, then he would use the hand sanitizer. And I thought it's smart, but also so peculiar. And I thought it was funny at the same time. And I thought it was even funnier when he would get ready to eat, someone would come by and say, RVD, oh my God, Mike Awesome, I love you guys. He'd be like, God damn it. And he'd be like, you know, I'll shake your hand, but can I do it after this hamburger? And him getting mad would make it even funnier. Because he wasn't joking about it. He was like perturbed at the issue, not at the guy, but just at the issue. And it was very funny. Yeah.
Oh, man, yeah. He seemed like a good time. I tell you what, I think it was the first one night stand in 2005. You had that match with oh my God, why Masato Tazaka. And holy shit, that was like the show stealer there for that one.
Sure, yeah. I mean, one of the best ECW matches ever. Like, put that up there in competition if you're voting on the best match fucking ever. So with ECW, I just great wrestler. I thought he was a great representation of ECW as a heavyweight champion. Right, I really wanted to build up the TV championship to where he and I could someday go belt for belt with a lot more eyes on us from our own separate individual efforts of putting two really strong pillars up. And I was going in that direction, but not all the way through. But I wanted to wrestle him in heavyweight championship for the TV championship. I was a big fan of his work. And one thing I got to say about him personally, because if there's any chance that his kids are listening, watching, or anyone that knows his kids is watching, I got to say he loved his fucking kids. He missed his kids every moment when he was on the road. And that's what he looked forward to coming home to, was hugging and smelling his kids.
That's a good dad right there. Like talking about their kids all the time.
He used to like smelling them, sniffing them down and stuff. And I thought that was funny too.
That's adorable though too. Who's one guy you never got to work with, or not much at least, that you would have loved to work with more? Says Ian Bag Jones.
These questions are always really challenging for me.
Yeah. Kind of mentioned him already in Mike Awesome, because like you all said.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Perfect answer. Thank you. I would have. See, Barbie. I would have liked to have wrestled Mike Awesome a lot more, because I didn't wrestle him at all.
Yeah. And you also mentioned Sid too, way back in the day. How you would have.
That's true.
Match with Sid. Mm-hmm.
That's true, but that was something where the promoter put it together. I was looking forward to it. It would have been awesome. I was disappointed it didn't happen, but that's true. But with Mike Awesome, that was a lot more long-term thinking, and it was for the betterment of the company, and it was more like, one of the only long-term storylines, if you want to call it that I feel like I was really invested in, because while I was having the best matches, in my opinion, and some of the fans' opinions of the night, every night with the TV championship, that wasn't done before. The TV championship was supposed to be more of a secondary belt when it came to importance, but here I am the whole effing show. People were cheering for me throughout the whole show till I would come in at the end, and I was doing that in a way that was good for me, obviously, but good for the company, good for the story, and while Mike was an awesome, no pun intended, heavyweight extreme champion, I wanted to put that off as long as we were growing, wait, not yet, that one of those things, because ECW's crowds were growing, our opportunities were growing with everything, just getting our name out there. So I wanted to make it to a stage where we were at our absolute biggest and then collide. And I'm sure those would have been some of the best matches that I had in ECW. I'm sure.
Yeah, 100%. And it was neat too because you talk about how big of a dude Mike Awesome was. He looked like this champion that would just this monster that could stop. And then you would contrast with them with your abilities and your different style in the ring. It would have been a hell of a match. And then plus the cachet you were building by holding that TV title and making that your own. And then boom, you guys collide to be big.
Yeah, and all of that, the best thing about all of that is that it's not, that whole story isn't something that was written, in an office with people that were paid to come up with something. That was real. That's what was happening organically, and those are always the best.
Steve, so they will close out this. I remember when you had a confrontation with Mike Awesome in 2000 and thought you was going to get the title from him, but then you got the knee injury. Yeah, we talked about that before on the previous episodes.
But I don't remember the confrontation, though.
Yeah, I don't remember the confrontation either, but I do remember, hey, you building up to that, and then the injury happened. And then Mike left for WCW, I think it was at that point. Is that right?
Oh, wait, well, I'm trying to, I guess it must be the ankle injury, because that's when my TV championship ended. And I don't remember the confrontation though, but
I got some time to burn. Let's do this right now.
I think it should have, it's cool to have teased it, but I would have liked to have done it much later if we were continuing to grow at the pace that we were back then.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. That's another one of the top matches to have. It would definitely be that. Real quick before we carry on too, if Bill Watts would have stayed, and I know the structure of WCW changed and everything like that, how do you think you would have done under his watch? Was he a big advocate for you, in the company as a higher moving up in the card and stuff like that, or do you think?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, because I was such a green, inexperienced young kid at the time, I'm just turning 22 while I'm there, just at the same time, in December of 92 when they're hiring me. And I can't tell you exactly what he thought of me. I do know he wasn't into high flyers, and he banned the use of the top rope while I was there. But he let me do my split-legged moonsault because he said, I'm just bouncing off of it. He said, that's different than climbing up and jumping off of it. So I was like, okay, just like always, I'm an exception to the rules. Yeah. And, it could have very well have been just like the job that I got. It could have been obligation to Ron Slinker. They went way back. I don't know if he owed Ron or if it was just a good relationship. No idea, but it could have been something like that. Could have been why I was getting a big push, or maybe he thought that I was really talented. Either way, I started with my underdog challenge match with Pat Rose, and then I never lost a match until right before I left for Japan and that might have been Ole was probably, I don't know exactly which day they did the switch, but the night before my last night in WCW before my first tour of All Japan, I was in the tournament. I believe it was a TV title tournament against Vinny Vegas.
Oh, as we know, Kevin Nash
did the JOB for Vinny Vegas. He hit the dice.
Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes, yeah.
Oh,
and Vader was trying to help us during the match. Vader liked me. That was cool. I found out then, but we were both green. Nash was green too, and Vader was saying before the match, saying, you got to sell like a big guy. You're out there, a big guy. You can't be bumping around and shit, obviously. And he's like, but you should be hitting him with everything you got. You should be like, kick him, go hit the ropes, come up with a flying kick, go hit the ropes, come back with a different kick, a spin kick, a flip kick, go hit the ropes. And that's exactly what I did. If you watch the match, Vader was like helping. I hit the ropes, leg lariat, boom, get off my ass, hit the ropes again, drop kick, hit the, and then and eventually like he was rocked him, and then whatever. But that was like a story that Vader was teaching me to tell that was very important. I would use that wrestling the Big Show years later, and work on his knee, bam, bam, and eventually get him down to one knee so I can fight him when we're both the same size.
Yeah, I love that's my favorite kind of dynamic in wrestling is like David versus Goliath matches are like my favorite kind of thing to tune into, and it's pretty awesome. And Vader, it's cool too because like him and Bam Bam Bigelow are so synonymous with one another with their work in Japan and stuff like that. And then you have that memorable match with Bam Bam. And it's just
yeah. And I never worked with Vader. I forgot about this. If someone asked me, I don't know if this would have come up to my mind if I wasn't thinking about the match with Vinny Vegas, but because I didn't even remember even talking to Vader that much and knowing him that much. But shit, yeah. He was there back then and helped me out in that particular moment. One other story down in the Panhandle, Pensacola, coming down from. Well, anyway, it doesn't really matter where it was. I'm in there with this other green dude. We're both green. It was Pensacola because we were smoking on the way down, and Bill Dundee was the agent. And he was like, oh, geez, kid, you better be able to handle yourself in the ring. I was smoking, but Too Cold Scorpio was driving, and he was smoking. He was driving, rolling joints, and smoking them. And I was like, wow, you're cool with us smoking? He was like, and Scorp said, well, Bill knows I can handle myself after I smoke. And then Bill's looking at me like, oh, don't be fucked up, kid. You'll get me in trouble. And I was like, no, cool. And I got out my little pipe because I used to smoke out of a pipe at the time, and I was smoking. Had the match that day, and during my match, the lights went out, dark. And in the middle of the crowd, and the guy that I'm wrestling, grabbed a hold, and fuck, what are we going to do? And whatever we did, it was mostly, hold, bear hug, probably wrestle around a little bit. The lights eventually came back on and stuff. Not only did I handle it, but I got props, for being able to keep calm in a situation like that and be able to not abort the match. And it wasn't just me, but thank you, Bill Dundee, for that. But it wasn't just me, but also my opponent, who was Mustafa, way back in '93.
How about that? Oh man,
92. 92 probably because I went over. Or no, 93 it's January. Yeah, December, January, February. I went to Japan in February, and it seems like everything changed when I got back, and then I left in May. Said, all right, thank you.
Yeah, wow. Guys, too, you can check back too on the old episode.
I think about when we were in Thailand doing Black Mass 2, and we were told that the penalty for marijuana is death. Did that scare us? Fuck no. We were like, cool, let's score. And Andrew Bernarski, do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Andy Bernarski's an actor. He fucked around with wrestling for a little bit. He's been in like everything, and he's most known for uh, his football movies. Big Meathead. He played the big roided out football player in every movie back then. The Program, Any Given Sunday, and was it The Rookie or something with an R, where they lay down in the road on that movie.
Placements? Was that
Maybe he was in all of those, but in Any Given Sunday, he's like, "Rah!" He's that guy that he's got his shit, so he goes in the stall even though someone's already in there.
Oh, I know. Yeah. He's like,
That's Andy Bernarski. He and I were the only ones that smoked marijuana. We were so thoughtless and careless that on the set, even like all the dress, certain sets, certain locations, all the actors had to dress in one trailer, and we would go in there, we would smoke it out, and the other actors would be like, do you have to do that in here? And I would just be like, well, it's too fucking hot outside, man. And they're like, you can't just go outside for a few minutes and smoke. We don't want to smell all that. And I was like, fuck no, man. I need the air conditioner. And I really, looking back at, like, I really didn't give a fuck, and really didn't even think that all the way through about how inconsiderate that was. I didn't give a fuck.
yeah,
Crazy.
that is crazy. It's no, it is like it's
Everywhere, dude. And I'm also the double-decker bus in Ireland that AWR would rent, and there was more of us that smoked there. The same thing. We would smoke that whole bus up every day. As soon as we get on the bus, we're upstairs, and the smoke's going to make its way everywhere. And then there'd be certain guys what's his name? Shoot, now I'm stuck on this dude. This guy is Joey. He never wrestled in the States or never made it as a star in the States, but he's very well known on the European UK tour. Joey something. He's like an Al Snow kind of looking dude.
oh,
Joe.
Anybody
Help
know?
me out, fans.
Yeah, help
They're-
me out.
He would be like, dude, do you have to? Can't you smoke before you get on the bus? And I'd be, oh yeah, we did that too.
Yeah, we got that out of the way.
Yeah, it helps kill the 2-hour drive. Well, I know, but then we all have to breathe it, and we don't want to smoke it. And I think the reason I felt like that was because I was like, oh, they just think it's hurting them, but it's not. Like, I really felt like that. Oh, don't worry, it's not like cigarette smoke. There's no carcinogens. There's no poison chemicals whatsoever in marijuana smoke. So, don't worry, it's healthy. I think it was that perspective that made me feel like I wasn't doing anything wrong. And now I think about it, and it was quite rude.
But you always say too, it's like you learn as you get older, and that helps.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed. I used to do that all the time and be careless, but that's how. Like, I remember before I smoked, when Sabu and Judge Dredd would roll the windows up and try and smoke me and Dango out, and we're in the back seat saying, "Open up, it's not funny." They'd be laughing their asses off, blowing it at us.
Stop it.
But we did think it was killing us.
No, did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what we were taught. That's what we were taught.
Hey, yo. Just want to talk to you guys a little bit about our friends at Get Blitzed. That's right. Get Blitz Lit Aid. Now, if you're not familiar with Get the Blitz Lit Aid, it is Delta 9, and it is a THC Get Lit Aid syrup that is nano-infused technology. It's created by Mickey Ray Sinatra and Courtney, but they ship all over. So it is legal in all 50 states. So that's the great thing, is anywhere you can get shipped to you anywhere in the United States. So my favorite is the Blue Raz, and it is very, very effective. All you need is just a little drop, and it'll get you going. It'll get you going. But they also have a new product too with our friends at Click This. That's right, Kevin Nash, Sean Oliver. They have a Get Lit Aid, 2 different types of Delta 9 THC beverages. Yes, and Kev's favorite is Kev's Key Lime Pie. So if you want to drink like Big Sexy, It's when legends collide. The flavor hits different. Introducing Kevin's Key Lime Pie, a laid-back citrus-infused collab between Get Blitzed and the wrestling icon himself, Kevin Nash, co-host of the Click This podcast. That's right. Each can delivers a mellow and delicious 5-milligram dose of Delta 9 THC, nano-infused for fast-acting, smooth effects that roll in like Big Kev walking in the ring. Cool, confident, and controlled. With creamy lime pie flavor, notes, and a graham cracker finish, this isn't just a drink. It's a sweet escape in a can. Our proprietary name, nano-infused emulsification tech, breaks down THC into microscopic particles, allowing your body to absorb it faster and more efficiently in traditional cannabis beverage or syrups. That means quicker onset, a more consistent experience, and zero guesswork. Kev's Key Lime Pie is made with premium hemp derivative ingredients and is fully compliant under federal guidelines. No fluff, no filler, just smooth, reliable ride every time. Check it out. We also have Sean Oliver's favorite flavor as well, and that is what would probably be my favorite flavor too, the Blue Raz Lemonade. So check it out. Go to get-blitz.com and use our promo code RVD. That is promo code RVD to get 15% off your order. And hey, they ship everywhere. So shout out to Mickey Ray, shout out to Courtney, and go to get-blitz.com, promo code RVD. Yeah.
One of my memories of the hardcore title was Test, because this was like the first time that I ever talked to him. So I must have been brand new when I got the hardcore title. Yeah, but anyway, I just remember so before the match, Tess says, hey, just because it's hardcore doesn't mean we got to do all that. Doesn't mean you have to. It just means you can do it. So we could just keep it in the ring instead of doing all that crazy shit. You know, I was like, well, sorry you feel that way. I mean, this is how I stand out. You know, that's what makes me special. You know, I got to do at least like one thing. You know, just let me just do a moonsault off the guardrail. You know, no one else is doing that shit. And he was like, oh, man, let me just, you know, we went back and forth. Okay, easy. It's easy. Just a moonsault off the guardrail. Boom, that makes it hardcore. That makes it extreme to me. We're outside the ring during the match, and boom, I'm up on the guardrail, and I go to flip backwards, and when I arch back, he's like, I don't know if he's too close or what, but he's standing to catch me, and our heads went bam, and it was so fucking stiff. Crack. It was like so hard. I think it busted him open, and I don't remember how we finished the match. I guess we just finished it, but afterwards he was pissed, and he kept. I mean, this happens so many times after I potato somebody. I don't want to get caught with like one boot on and one boot off or whatever. So a lot of times I would have to like wait and just to make till I see them. Especially if every time I knock somebody out, I'd be like, I don't know if they're gonna be mad or not. And I'd be like waiting until I see them and see what kind of mood they're in. This was one of those too where you know, I'm taking my tape off, and then he would like just come through the dress. It was like a walkthrough kind of dress room. He'd come through, fuck, you know, huffing and puffing. He'd come through. And so I'm like feeling that energy, and I'm like, okay, you know, and I like go ahead and take the other tape off. He'd come back through again, you know, fuck, and he, you know, boom, and he would just like walk through, and then one time he goes, fuck, somebody roll me a joint, which. This is the first day I'm even, you know, talking with this guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, that was probably directed towards me.
I think he's talking about somebody here.
But is he saying, what's he saying though? Is he bullying me into it? Is he saying I owe him, you know, like what? And he came back through again, and I said, hey, I said, hey, dude, you heard me say I'm sorry, right? And he said, yeah. I said, so are we cool or not? And he was like, oh, you know, and then all of a sudden, like it took all the steam out of him. and then he was just like, then he was just like, fuck yeah. And he was like, man, you got any weed to smoke? And then we got along really well after that. But he wanted to, he wanted me to be afraid of him at first. Be like, oh fuck, he's mad at me and shit. I better roll him a joint, and I was like, I'm gonna put a stop to that right now. But that's a memory that'll be with me forever on test, and with my having fun with my hardcore title defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, our heads hit so hard that like it was like, is he still gonna be conscious or not? Because it was hard enough to where some people would be sleeping.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes. I did that with Ric Flair one time too, like doing a helo over the top rope,
Mhm.
and somehow, and him and Shelton Benjamin, it was like a 3-way kind of match.
Oh.
And somehow I'm doing this dive out to the floor, helo thing, and somehow me and Ric Flair's heads went bam. And I thought the same thing. I thought, okay, that was definitely hard enough to knock somebody out, and let me, after I quit rolling and could recover, I looked to see if Flair was going to be sleeping or not. He wasn't. He was fine. That's when I was like, all right, he's definitely not a pussy. That was a really hard headshot.
Dang. Oh my gosh. Yeah, those moments, like, I would think connected heads has to be one of the worst parts of the job. Like that part of that aspect.
Doesn't happen often. It takes, it takes a mismatch, obviously, of people being in the right position for each other. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it does happen. But yeah, I loved working with Tess, though. We had a lot of really good matches, and he used to complain that I was really stiff, and then after a while, he just got used to it. And that's what he told me too. Especially like when I would catch his foot, because he's so tall. If I would catch his foot and want to do the step over kick that I do, that Kehlani does kind of now.
Yeah.
When they're taller, then I got to like jump more into it, and then that might cause me to to put more into it, to kick harder, basically. And it would with him. Like, and I remember one time saying, "Dude, I know I nailed you with that step over kick in there," and he was like, "Oh yeah, I just expect it now. I know it's coming."
I'm aware of it.
But he definitely, I had to break him down to get there, because at first he would complain and he'd be angry, and but he would give it too, though. Like
Yeah.
one time he picked that boot up, and it hit me so hard it felt like he pushed my eye into the back of my head. It was crazy. It took away my balance. I was spaghetti legged, like like trying to catch my balance, and Test leans down and he goes, Robbie. I don't know why he called me Robbie, but he goes, Robbie, spin kick me. And I did this, like, I was so low already. It must have been like a spinning leg sweep that went nowhere. Didn't hit anybody. And he was still standing there, and he says, no, try again or something. And I went, wham, and I kicked him and went up to the top rope, and it felt like, whoa, like it felt like in the funhouse when the tunnel was like spinning.
Yeah.
I was holding on to the turnbuckle in my frog, my pre-squat frog position, and it felt like the whole everything around me was going like that, and I was holding on, and then I jumped up. And I tried so hard to just do it out of instinct, like maybe I should close my eyes, something. I jumped up, did the froggy, and I came down, and I was like 2 feet short. And like my hands like hit him in the nuts, like a double axe handle him in the nuts. Bam! It just landed on my face and stomach. He knocked me silly with that boot. It was boom.
Yeah. Test, do you think like his personality is kind of maybe what held him back or something like that when it comes to like being a big main event kind of star? Because he had the look, he had the presence of everything and stuff like that. And I was always a fan of Test, and I pretty curious about like, because like it seemed like maybe his kind of attitude almost didn't fit the bill of what like
being that world champion, kind of the mentality that Vince would maybe envision or something? Or how do you kind of feel about that?
I don't know. I feel one way. I feel, if he hadn't have died, he
Mhm.
would have been a top star. I totally
Oh,
believe that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think as far as the backstage socializing goes, I think he did it right. I think Hunter liked him from what I can remember. It seems like maybe they were friends, and that's really, what you want to do as far as like how you're gonna want to act in the backstage to get ahead. And I think he was in that clique, like with Hunter. If he had heat with Hunter, I don't know about it, but
Mhm.
he was. I learned to like him. Like he put out like a grumpy kind of vibe.
Yeah.
We were always tired, road worn, and all of us, but he would like show it. And I might have told this before, but one time we're at the arena early, like after checking in at 1 or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and he was at catering, and I went up to him and I said, "Hey, Tess, so and so told me that you have directions to a gym by here that's wrestler friendly." And he goes, yeah. He goes, are you driving? And I said, yeah. And he goes, all right. He goes, you go, and he's using his hands on the table. He goes, okay, so you go out and make a right as soon as you get right. Go make a right, and then no, wait, cross the street, and then and he like started getting mad at himself and frustrated in his own directions, and he was getting himself worked up. And he's like, what? Wait, go down this way 2 blocks. I was like, whoa, brother, calm down, man. What are you getting hot about? Like, that was this.
So that's interesting. So
Then he laughed. Once I said that, he laughed at himself because
yeah.
he didn't even realize he was doing that until I pointed it out. He's like, man, you go down here, you turn left at the stop sign. Don't go to the left till the stop sign. Like, bro, do you want me to come back in a few minutes?
You take a breather. We'll come back to this. We'll get back to this.
He was
Well, that's cool then. So like you thought he was well on his way to becoming the champ if like he kind of
I never really thought about it. You know what I mean? Like at the time, I'm in that competitive state of mind, and feeling like why anybody but me, that's what my telling me, and that's what I'm. But I definitely did consider him a top guy, and depending on whether the writers were behind him or not, he could have. I could see him with a pretty good future.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, I remember he tagged with Baldo for a while, I think.
Yeah, him and TNA. They were TNA with.
Okay. Yeah. I like him better as a single,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I felt like, like it was wrestling him. I felt like I was in a main event. I thought he was a pretty good top guy, and good look, really big dude, and aggressive, believable because he's stiff as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. I always liked his look, and I thought he had a lot of good potential and stuff like that for sure. So interesting. But yeah, Rob,
little envy also when I was there, because for the first couple of years that I was in WWE around Test, he was dating Stacy Keibler.
Oh yeah,
she was a cutie, So it's like, does he deserve her? That's gotta worry about everybody. And then later on it was Kelly. Like, man, he don't deserve Kelly. Come on, man. We all love Kelly. But they obviously were together for a long time too. So I remember one time we were in an arena in Arizona. I think it was in Phoenix, Arizona, and this was with the new ECW, and myself and Sabu were tagging against Test, and somebody seems like it might have been CM Punk. That's so
Yeah.
crazy.
You told
What?
that. Yeah, you told that story where he was like, "Hey, you got to watch." He wanted you to watch Kelly or something like that.
Oh no.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, okay, so anyway, the crowd was saying to Tess, "You suck dick, you suck dick," and he said, "Okay, right, I suck dick, but I'm the one that's banging all the hot divas." The man said, but we were like, "Yeah, he's right."
You got a point.
Guys there, yeah. The whole crowd did. They're like, "Yeah, all right, that's good."
Yeah, you got us. You got us. Dude, what a lineup though. Stacy Keebler, Kelly. Stacy was mine like back in the day. Like I was, oh my God, she was mine. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And like you think of that. So she Test Stacy, then Stacy ended up dating George Clooney.
Right.
Wild.
Wow, what an upgrade that was.
Man, how about that?
One time we were just getting back from some overseas trip, the whole crew, and we were hungry and tired, but couldn't wait to get where we could get some food. And we were, I feel like we were in Portland, Oregon. So I think we were, but we came from somewhere overseas, and then now we're on a bus, and we can't wait till we get to the hotel, so then we can be free, so we can go and get some food or whatever. Me, Mike Chioda, Tess, Stacy, maybe there's someone else, maybe not. But anyway, we finally get to the hotel. And we get our bags and check in or whatever. We all come downstairs, and then me and Tess and Mike Kyoto, we ask and find out there's a Subway, like, on the other side of the block or whatever. Okay, perfect. And we go there, and where's Stacy? And he said, "Oh, she's just taking a shower and stuff." So okay, cool. So when we get there, Tess is the first to order, and he says, "Yeah, I want turkey, 12-inch turkey double meat. Make that 2 of them." And I said, "Oh, that's cool. You're getting Stacy one too?" And he goes, "Oh, I probably should, huh?" He's like, "Wait, make that 3." And I was just like, "Man, what is she seeing you?"
Some guys have all the luck. What the heck?
He never even thought about it. And we were all talking about how hungry we were.
Oh, I guess I probably should.
Yeah.
Jeez, at least a Subway cookie or something.
I know I had so many test stories.
Man, that's
I
crazy.
guess I got a lot.
Man, that's awesome. He was always fun to play on the video games too. I'll say that. And he had great action figures.